Rinseless washing and ultra dirty car.
Hi, I'm Ivan.
I'm Frank.
And this is DIY Detail. Today, special guest Frank. How are you doing?
I'm doing very good, you?
From Detailing Dogma. The link will be down below. Frank is letting us use his garage today, and we want to show you what cars look like in Quebec in the winter. They look like this. This is a brand new car. It doesn't even have a plate on it yet, but this is how a couple days driving makes our cars look during the snowy season.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah. So we're going to show you how to quickly and easily rinseless wash it. No fluff, nothing else. We're just going to wash this and you'll see how it is.
So what do we have on the paint right here? Like, it's a mix of mud, sand maybe, salt.
Yeah. So depending on where you are in Quebec, they use different things on the roads. Where we are, it's considered a green area, so they don't use a lot of salt. They use beet juice and they use gravel.
Okay.
Here, we drove through Montreal to get here. In Montreal, they use salt, salt, and more salt. So we have salt or calcium. We have calcium chloride. We have some beet juice, and we have some gravel on here.
Yeah, and the dirt from the road, obviously.
Yeah.
We can see here it's really thick.
Yeah. It actually forms a crust on the car.
So most of that, can I say this is water soluble? It should come off with just a garden hose?
Some of it will come off with a garden hose, some of it won't, especially the calcium. So that's where the rinseless wash comes in. Makes it a lot safer and easier to wash it off. And if you don't have the luxury of a garage like Frank has here, or you just have your garden hose, we're not going to be using a pressure washer. We're just going to be using a garden hose and a rinseless wash just to show you how quick and easy it is.
Yes. Is there a reason why it's sticking so much to the paint? Is it the wet and dry?
The wet, the dry, and this doesn't have a coating on it yet.
Oh, that's right. Right.
It's
a brand new car.
It's not protected yet. So this is straight from the dealership, 500 kilometers, but about 300 miles have been done with the vehicle since we picked it up at the dealership a couple days ago, and it hasn't been washed yet.
Yeah.
So this is as seen from the dealership.
Yeah. So a lot of people are living in the Northeast and they're constantly asking us, how can they clean a car dirty like this? So I thought that's going to be a good idea for you guys. We have a really nice example here of a dirty car, and Ivan's going to show us his way to get it clean and not damage our paint, right?
Right.
Okay.
First things, a lot of people, if they have a pressure washer, they would immediately try to pressure wash this off. You don't want to do that. A pressure washer, what it's going to do is all this grit that's on here, it's actually going to drive it into the paint and along the paint before the water can get underneath it. With the rinseless wash, we're going to emulsify it. Now, I'm using a keg. You can use anything just as long as you're spraying it on. Dilution ratio, 256:1.
So get it wet first.
Yeah. And using a keg sprayer like this, I can actually target areas a little better.
It's already pushing the dirt away.
Yeah. So the cracks and crevices around the emblems, around the lights here.
So you can also do that outside if you choose the right day. If you have like a couple degrees above freezing temperature,
yeah,
you could do that outside, no problem.
Right. And if you don't have the capacity to do that, one thing you can do, go to the coin-op car wash, apply the rinseless wash as you're waiting in line. Mm-hmm. Go to the coin-op, rinse it off, use their soap, not their brush, use their soap, spray it on, rinse it off, spray on a bit of rinseless, and then drive away and come home and actually do the contact wash.
Yeah, because you're not going to dry the car because it's not as clean as it can get.
No.
So I'm always worried about leaving like regular water, tap water on the paint. So that's why you recommend to add the rinseless afterwards.
Yeah. What the rinseless is going to do, if it dries on the surface, it's emulsified that water and made those minerals so they're not harmless, or so they're not harmful for the paint. Therefore, you're not going to have the issue with the the water spotting that you would normally get.
Yeah. And then you got two options. Either leave it like that if you don't have a garage at all.
Yep.
Or at home, you pull in the garage and you do your regular rinseless wash, I guess.
Yeah. So we're going to let this emulsify and break down the dirt and encapsulate the dirt. That's what rinseless wash does. So it's encapsulating the dirt, breaking it down into smaller and smaller particles, and it's Zwitter ionic, which is a German term that hasn't been translated into English or French for that matter. But Zwitter ionic means neither negative nor positive. So when we're kids playing with magnets, you try to put the two north poles together. You can never get them together.
Yeah.
That's what's happening here. Whether it's negative or positive, it's repelling it. So it's actually trying to lift the dirt off the surface with that little magnetic cushion.
Okay.
It's not going to be levitating this far off the paint. Don't worry. But from there, once we let it dwell, we're just going to use a garden hose today.
Okay. And do we need a specific product for salt, or is the rinseless good against like grease and grime, or is this something else for the salt?
Not necessary. This is a surfactant-based rinseless. A polymer-based rinseless has a little more difficulty attacking anything that's greasy or grimy, whereas the surfactant is going to break that grease down quite easily. So just like using a soap. The surfactants work in a similar way. Plus we have a few polymers in there for lubrication, but when we're done, it leaves absolutely nothing on the surface. Time to rinse it off?
Yeah. What setting do you prefer for that?
I put it on the straight setting, so we have a bit of pressure, but not too much.
Yeah, good.
And we're just trying to rinse the majority of it off. You still need a contact wash, so the contact wash is going to do the bulk of the work, but the rinseless wash has taken and emulsified this dirt. The rinsing is going to take 90% of it off, taking all the grit off. The contact wash is going to get rid of the salt.
Yes.
Yep.
So here you want to put your focus, your emphasis on the nooks and crannies.
Yep. Now I purposely left a spot undone. I'll just put this on a very low pressure setting. So very low pressure.
Yeah.
And the rinseless wash takes a lot of it off, but obviously the pressure does a bit of the work for you.
Yeah. So it didn't need much.
No.
So obviously a car dirty like this, you're going to have to just add some more time and be more thorough.
Yep. But now we're ready for the contact wash.
Yeah, it looks pretty good already.
Yeah.
Even though it's wet, I can see the big difference.
Yes.
And if you look up close, it seems like 90% of the dirt is gone.
Yeah, we don't have the grit on it anymore that we had before.
Which was wood scratch, right?
100%.
Okay.
As an extra precaution of safety, we're going to add a little more rinseless on the surface. I don't need to put as much on as I did the first time. I just want to get it on the surface. And this is going to protect the surface, add a bit of lubrication before we touch it with the sponge.
Yeah, you go about your rinseless like you usually do from now.
Yep. From here, it's like any other car wash. So in our bucket, we have rinseless wash, diluted 256:1. We take our sponge. We don't want a dripping sponge like this. Squeeze it out so it's just on the verge of dripping.
Yeah.
Now, when you have an extremely dirty vehicle like this, you want to take your sponge, flip it over, just do a second pass, because it's actually going to absorb the dirt off the surface into the sponge. And we can see just how much, oh, I missed a spot. Yeah, there we go.
Good.
You can see just how much dirt we picked up off the surface. Clean again.
It's gone, yeah.
Yep.
Super. It's not like a microfiber mitt that tends to grab to that and keep some of the grip maybe in the wash mitt.
Yeah.
Now it's been released and...
Yeah, microfiber is designed to hold on to dirt. It's what it does, and it does it well. Meaning that if you're using microfiber, you're going to be taking that dirt and dragging it along the surface. Whereas this grabs the dirt and it goes actually into the pores of the sponge. That's why we don't want the sponge to be wet. If the sponge is too wet, it's not going to absorb the liquid. It's going to be pushing liquid out. We actually want this to absorb the liquid. And that's what it's done here.
Okay.
Again, we just touch it to the surface.
It's amazing how it can pick it up and release it so easily.
Yeah, because now we flooded. So since we're flooding, it wants to release. When it's just barely damp like this, it wants to absorb.
So that's why you're saying to not get it too wet.
Right.
Like you've seen those beginner rinseless washers, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
they put it like soap, right?
If we do this, first of all, it's messy, but it's not absorbing. It's not absorbing the dirt into the sponge.
Yeah, there's nothing on it.
Yeah.
So you just kind of spread it on the paint, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
We just want it damp like this, and then we can...
So for those non-believer out there, that's the way to go. We have the good demonstration here.
And you can see where I've washed, the water's gathering up. Where we haven't washed, it's still sticking to the surface.
It's like sheeting, right?
Yeah.
Which means the paint is clean. Is that it?
Yeah. This car only has, 500 kilometers, so it's not a...
Super contaminated or
No.
nasty?
It's a 2025, so it's only... The manufacturing date was December.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's not old. Didn't sit in the dealer's lot for for 6 months.
Are those built in Mexico or Ontario?
I have no idea.
Okay. So the plastic obviously is not as problematic.
Yeah, and again...
Yes. And nowadays there's a lot... We picked up dry dirt on the side.
So this was on the bottom of the plastic, so I'm not worried about scratching it. Just wanted to show you. Actually, let's get a little more here.
So this area was not pretty to...
Yeah. So you can see just how much is on the sponge.
Yeah.
Just one little chunk in there. It was a little too big. But yeah, sponge comes out clean every time.
That's awesome.
And then we dry it. We're going to be ceramic coating this vehicle, so we're not going to be putting a drying aid on today. And with the rinseless, you don't need a drying aid.
So nowadays there's a lot of sponges on the market.
Yep.
And I've seen a bunch of, they seem somewhat different. Are you going to get the same result with other sponges?
Not every sponge.
Okay.
There are some sponges that the pore structure is too small or too closed, that it's not going to do the same job. A sponge that's too soft is actually more likely to scratch than one that has a bit of body like this. Because to get any work out of it, you're having to put pressure. Pressure is not your friend, and you end up squeezing the sponge too much.
Yeah, it's too flimsy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I noticed that with another brand of sponge.
Yeah.
So now we're ready to dry. You were saying that since you're going to ceramic coat this, you're not going to use a drying aid?
I'm not going to use a drying aid. We're not ceramic coating it today, but nonetheless, we don't want to put anything on there. But with a rinseless is its own drying aid. Mm-hmm. Now you'll see how difficult the vehicle is to dry. That's because it's cold. And cold metal is always difficult to dry. If we were to use a drying aid, this is one case where you want to use a drying aid.
Okay. It would help to pull the water?
Yeah. The paint dries a little easier.
Are those new towels?
No, we've had those for a while.
Okay.
So they come in a 3-pack.
Get those small ones and the big ones?
Yeah, but you get 3 this size.
Okay.
They're actually some of my favorite towels because they're a lot easier to hold. Give it a try.
Twisted loops?
Yeah, twist loop.
Which is proven, right? I love those twisted loops. And it doesn't drag on the floor.
No, exactly.
Yeah, go ahead. I actually move myself to smaller towels instead of one big one. I think that's a great size. Is it like 12 by 8?
8 by 16.
Okay.
Yeah, the towel that you can throw on the hood and pull across looks really good on internet, but it's not the best way of drying a vehicle.
No. Yeah, we all started with this.
Yeah. Yes, you can see just how difficult it is to dry, but it's getting there.
It has no protection either, so
Zero protection.
Get it coated.
Yeah, and there's no scratches on it. We didn't scratch the surface. Inspect as much as you like.
Yes, it is. There's no scratch.
Yeah.
We did not mess the paint by doing this.
No, it's no worse than it was before.
No.
It's a brand new car. Every brand new car can use a bit of help. This is no exception. There's no scratches on it, thankfully, but there are runs, there are little blemishes that come from the factory. That's normal, and that's why we have orange peel on cars. Orange peel is actually manufactured into the car. They can decide if a manufacturer wanted a 0 orange peel car, they can program their robots to spray that.
Like a really flat finish.
Yeah. This one's not too bad,
no,
but there's still orange peel there.
Yeah, definitely.
And like I said, you actually want orange peel on your car. It's a good thing to have.
And this one is metallic, which is also another thing that can help with hiding stuff.
Yep.
It's a really nice red.
Yeah, this is actually a candy red.
Candy red.
So it's three stage. This is the type of red that if you polish it, this car will actually become pink.
So it's like there's a tint and a clear.
Yeah, the base color underneath it is sort of a pink gold. And then they put a red tinted clear over top.
Okay. So you were saying that if you polish this, you're going to have some red on your pad.
You're going to have red on your pad, and if you polish it too much, you're actually going to have a sort of a pink gold spot.
Is that like a burn through?
No, it's just you've removed some of the thickness of the tinted clear coat, and when you're removing that tinted clear coat, you see the color underneath it more.
So like the different red that's below.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you gauge how far you can go? You don't know at all.
No, go the least amount possible. You want to polish to enhance. This is a vehicle that if you get a scratch on, you're not wet sanding and polishing the scratch away.
Okay, so you're saying you have to be more careful with those
tinted clears. Yeah.
Okay. Why did you choose this color?
Have you seen our last 10 cars, Frank?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. What color were they?
Red.
Yeah.
Okay,
so go with the bus.
Okay, that's come probably from the brand scheme.
Yeah. So, and once we get a coating on this, it will be a lot easier to maintain. And coatings do not resist scratches. Don't worry. But it helps resist wash marring a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. Because it's easier to clean, easier to maintain.
Yeah.
It's slicker and all the benefits.
All the benefits that a coating has.
Yeah, self-cleaning. Okay, good. All right, so basically to recap our really dirty car, it's not very different from what we're used to. You do a pre-treat with your rinseless wash.
Yep.
You rinse with a hose, garden hose or pressure washer.
Yep.
Then you go in your regular routine of rinseless washing, spray, and use the sponge and dry it afterwards. You can use a drying aid or not.
Yeah, it's just be logical. Would you take your soapy wash mitt to this surface? No. You don't take your rinseless sponge to the surface that you wouldn't take your soapy wash mitt to. Mm-hmm. So the pre-rinse is necessary. It's a rinse-less wash. It's not a rinseless wash.
And regardless, just pay attention to the nooks and crannies. If you have grit, obviously you have to take more time to clean a dirtier car than a cleaner car. So,
very good. Well, thank you very much for helping me, sir.
Thank you very much for
having your beautiful garage.
Yeah, my pleasure, and thanks for showing us the way you clean a really dirty car. It's not much different from what we know already, but there you have it. That's the the good way to do it.
Yeah, excellent. And Frank, there's another video they should watch. Where is it?
Yeah, you should watch it right here.